Hello everyone and welcome back to my first Lightbox of 2023. So Avatar 2: The Way of Water came out a little bit ago and I thought it was a really pretty world they created, so I thought I'd turn it into a Lightbox. And I just so happened to have this Lightbox frame from my Howl's Moving Castle Lightbox that I took apart, so I decided to use it in this project. The first step was to clean up the frame and cut out all the little papers that were stuck so it would be ready for the new layers. And once I did that, I jumped right into the main character of the Lightbox. My plan for this Lightbox was to have one of the Avatar people, one of Jake Sully's children, preferably, swimming among the fish and the coral. A lot of the movie was just the characters swimming around and admiring the scenery, so I thought this would be pretty easy to do. And for the character, I chose Kiri. She's not my favorite. I don't really care for any of them too much, but she was the one with the special connection to Awa, aka the god in nature and stuff, so I thought she would fit the best for this Lightbox. I didn't really understand her role in the story. I thought she would be more of a main character, but she kind of got casted aside and the brother was the main character. Like, I thought she would have the special connection with the whale because she was the one with the special connection to all nature, but I don't know, maybe in the later movies she'll be more important, but yeah. Overall, I just think her character was not important to the plot in any way, and I thought she would have way more of a role, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens later on. But anyways, I used a bunch of references to try to draw the face right, and I don't think it turned out the best, but you can tell it's supposed to be her in the end with all the hair and everything, so I think I did a good job with that. I made her look like she was floating through the water with her pose, and once I had the basic body shape correct, I cut her out. All the details like the hair, the face, everything will be added on later. Now on to the details. First, I darkened up all the hair by adding another layer of cardstock on all the hair on the head and the braid. Since the Na'vi have dark hair, I thought this would be a good addition to add contrast to the face. Then I cut the eyes out. I also cut lines and details for the nose, and then I added another layer onto the lips to darken them, the same as with the hair. When I finished up the face, I moved on to the outfit. Well, it's more like a piece of vine wrapped around her chest. I don't know how it's supposed to provide any coverage, but somehow it ends up providing all the coverage needed. But anyways, I added the modesty loincloth, and then the whole top part was pretty fun to do. I try to make the tassels look kind of flowy since she is swimming in the water. There are a few more accessories to add, like the bracelets and the necklaces, and these were pretty easy to do. The one thing I really liked about the movie was that everything kind of glowed. Like, all the plants had a neon glow, even the skin of the blue people had little specks that were glowing, and it was all just really pretty. I'd want to live there. So I wanted to add some of those elements in by adding the stripes on her skin. I used sketching paper to cut triangular shapes out and glued them all along the arms and the body. And last but not least, I actually almost forgot these, but I had to add the two little hair braids around her face, so I just did that quickly and I was basically done with Kiri. I quickly planned out where she was gonna go in the frame, and now it's time for all the scenery. I flipped through some pictures to get an idea of what everything looks like, and I started with some coral. You see, I have to cover most of the back of the light box with something so you don't just see the LED lights from the front, so I really liked the idea of some giant coral pieces covering most of the background. And I made the coral like how I would a tree. Basically, I cut branches out of cardstock and then I added a bubbly shape out of sketching paper all around the branches to create the coral shape. And then after one piece, I got bored of making coral, so I jumped around to making some little fishies. Yeah. My plan was to have one big fish swimming with Kiri, and then a bunch of small fish swimming around and filling in all the gaps, and it would look super magical and flowy. So I sketched out some schools of fish. From the reference pics, they look very simple, so I kept them that way. Because lately it's been a little hard to motivate myself to make light boxes. Like, I've been going through a little bit of a creative slump, so it started becoming a little difficult to want to continue. So this light box ended up not being as cool as I imagined, and I think it really shows. But I'm getting out of my slump now, so I'm gonna make cooler projects from now on, hopefully. But anyways, I drew out a bunch of underwater corals and plants and rocks and just different elements and pieces of the background, and I just cut everything out. My favorites was definitely the kelp plants, and I also really enjoyed like the coral plant, but the thinner version with that looks like a little noodle. I thought that was fun. And now I move on to assembling everything together, and since the whole frame is already glued together, the way I have to put everything into its place is by cutting slits in the foam board and slipping the pieces in place and then gluing them to secure them. And after gluing in Kiri and a couple of the big coral, I finally moved on to the main fish. I decided to add the fish that the water tribe people ride on because it's kind of the only fish that kind of looks cool that I know. Except for the whales, but those are too big and they don't live in a coral reef, so I couldn't do them. I needed something that was a similar size to Kiri so it could fit nicely in the scene. So apparently the fish's name is called a tsurak, I think. But yeah, I think they look pretty cool. I'd want to ride one, honestly. But yeah, I took a little bit of time to sketch out the shape because I ended up making it too big over and over and over. So I narrowed it down, made it smaller, and I got the shape correct finally. I also drew different shapes like little squares and rectangles and triangles and blobs that I'm going to glue on to the surak, the fish, to add all the details because it has like very speckly skin, and yeah, that's the way I thought of making it look speckly. So I just glue on all the little shapes along the back and along the fins to kind of define them. And I also had dark eyes and another little antenna thing coming out of his head because there's two of them. Then I glued in place opposite of Kiri, so they're kind of floating by each other, holding each other's hand kind of thing. And then I just glue in some more fish and details, and it's basically done. Then I thought of a cool idea of adding some flowing water elements with some sketching paper, basically just cutting some flowy shapes out of the paper and gluing them around the characters so it looked like they were swimming. But honestly, it didn't really do much, so it's kind of pointless, but oh well. And then finally, last but not least, I had to get some paper to cover the back, and I decided to poke holes in it because why not, you know? Could it be stars? Not stars, but it could be just stuff. I don't know, but I thought, why not? And yeah, basically here's the finished piece. I kind of don't like it. I thought it would look a lot cooler. I thought there would be more fish, but I don't know. It didn't work well for me. It didn't go well. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it looks terrible or anything. And I do kind of like the color, of course, and I don't think it looks horrible, but it's just not my favorite. But yeah, let me know what you think. And yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, comment, all this stuff, because it really helps. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!